CXC subjects. In fact, across the region, and if CXC won't tell you, I will tell you, across the region, only 20% of students who sit the exams across the region get only 4 or 5 subjects. CXC is one measure. It is not the only measure. It is not the measure that says a student is doing well. And I work well with the organization, so I give them homage, I pay my respects. But you know, our university administrators are complaining that their students with the 8 and the 9 and the 10 CXC subjects with distinction aren't able to think and function critically. So this is what happens. The university people say, but they went to college and they spent 3 or 4 years in college and they did well. They got A's. And the college people say, oh, no, it's not us. It's the high schools to which they went. And the high school administrators say, but we worked with them for 5 years and they did well. They got 8 and 9 and 10, 60 subjects. It's not us. It's the primary school system that's broken. And you meet with the primary school administrators. They say, oh, no, it's not us. We have done our very best. They did well at GSAT. It's the early childhood sector that's not regulated. And when we meet with the ECI people, they say, oh, no, it's not us. It's the homes from which they come. Oh, I'm not done. And when you get into the homes, the women say, oh, no, it's not us. It's the men whose genes are bad. And you can't find them, well. So the idea is everybody at every level has got to find measures to improve quality. I don't get carried away by, I work with great people. Great people. I love my job. I was up 3 o'clock this morning. I'm excited to go to work every day. Yeah, I love my job. And a part of why I love my job is that I work with some fantastic people right across the country, across the education sector. And you know, you have some very eminent, erudite colleagues, and I mean no disrespect. But whilst we are busy building our schools and air conditioning our offices and you don't have school. So school self-evaluation is collecting the information, using the information to draw certain conclusions, and using those conclusions to inform the measures to respond. There is an approach to school self-evaluation. It's a balancing act. Because on one level you have the issue of accountability, where, especially in the public sector, very many of us don't understand and fully appreciate this construct. So if you're going to be the principal and the leader in the school and the teacher and the parent and the student, you must assume responsibility for your output. You cannot be going through your school, through the ministry, whatever role you're in, whatever context in which you work, and you get no improved results. By virtue of the fact that you are a fired up leader, there ought to be some improvement under your tenure and stewardship. And where there is none, one must do the ethical thing of walking away. So one must assume accountability. Now, the trouble with school self-evaluation, and I research this across the world, is it can't be something that's thrust upon you. These grandiose structures, which we should. Whilst we're busy mornings, complaining about going home in the evenings, not happy when it's the summer. Not happy when it's the summer. They can't wait for September to come because they want to get back to school. They want to transform lives. The ministry has a responsibility because the functioning of the ministry is heavily dependent on the functioning of the schools. And did I tell you I love my job? You know, sometimes I listen to my colleagues talking and I smile because And let me put this down. We have a way as a sociological grouping that to us hierarchy, we don't really have issues of racial discrimination in Jamaica. But we have many issues of classism. Yeah? So, I'm having fun. So, those of us who work in the ministry, and my colleagues are here, don't cite me for this. We feel, that we are in the ascendancy. And we can just tell you what to do, and we feel that, it's about us because we are the stewards of the system. How dare you think that you are as important as me? Because I'm in the ascendancy. And those of us, well, let me change that pronoun. Those of you who are working in the school level feel, some of you, by virtue of our own ignorance, feel that if you're working in a school that you're less than. All right, let me go from a different angle. If you're working in Kingston, people think you're brighter than those who are working in Westmoreland? Did you know that if you're teaching at an early childhood institution, people think you're not as gifted as those teaching at high school and university? You didn't know? Did you know that if you're running a large school such as Calabar, and Hillside, and a small school such as Hillside in St. Mary, do you know people equate size of school to brilliance? And people think that if you're running a large school, you're actually more gifted than those running a small school? The folly of our cognitive processes. Few who work at the central office. You didn't know? Because that is where the real skill sets in some jurisdictions. No, it is not to suggest that one is better than the other. It is not to suggest that if you're working at a school, you're better than those who are working at the ministry. And it is certainly not to suggest that if you're working at the ministry, you're better than those who are working at the school. The point is that one needs the other. Both must be intimately entwined. That policy, if it is going to be good policy, must reflect the realities of the classroom. Because when we sit in our air-conditioned offices and we pen something to paper, it's a different reality than you who have to implement it. We need not have that disconnect. And so school self-evaluation gives you, us, them, you, me, all of us, the ability to link to better support each other. This is how we're attending to that. Number one, mindset change. Teachers, leaders, people involved in the delivery of educational services must understand the real power that we have. I was at breakfast one morning in South Miami, and we were talking about some projects, and people were introducing themselves, and this was in a Hispanic area, and people were saying, one person said that they were a neurosurgeon or something, and they were going on and on. And when it was my turn, I just said, well, I'm a teacher. And a what? What? The look of this day, a what? Because people feel that if you are of a certain ilk, you ought not to be in teaching. Well, I didn't happen to become a teacher. I never buck up in teaching. It's not that I couldn't have been elsewhere, but I chose to be a teacher, understanding fully well the power, the potency of a teacher. Our teachers, our leaders, our colleagues who work at the system level must understand the power that they have. They must change their mindset. School cannot be a drab. Listen, not all of us are going to choose to live overseas. Some of us must live here. America can't hold everybody. This is off the record now. So I went to the U.S. Embassy the other day to do... And Robert, I was so shocked when I saw the number of people inside vis-a-vis the number of people outside. I was thinking, I didn't know so much people all over the U.S. Embassy don't record that. But some of us must live here. And I have been all over. I think I have only 2 continents left. And Jamaica is a great place. Dr. Gordon, I met a Kenyan principal with 5,000 kids in his school, primary school kids. And he himself was a classroom teacher with 100 kids. He had no guidance counselor. He had no vice principal. He had no clerical assistant. And he had to teach. Why? He understood the power of his daily actions. And we, as a Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, we are about the business of building capacity. So when we are working with our teachers through our summer. We are working with you on an ongoing basis. And this does not only mean going to a workshop, because in case you didn't know, going to a workshop, note, I didn't say summit. Going to a workshop is less effective than being mentored and coached. What we need are people who will sit at the feet of others, learn, examine their practice, invite the person back into the classroom. Did I do this right? What tips can you give me? So as a ministry, we are insisting upon, we are creating provisions for mindset change. And I'm not stopping on the teachers. I just sent some ministry people to China. Because a part of our downfall as a sector is we don't know, we don't appreciate what goes on elsewhere. And what we need is another view. And the other view does 2 things. One, it says to you, boy, you know, you're not as bad as you think you are. And 2, as good as you are, there's somebody who is better. Emulate them. As bad as you are, there's somebody who can help you link with them. So that's what we're about. What the ministry is also about is the whole matter of standards, performance standards, key performance. And you know, the NEI, I think Mrs. Dwyer is here, has been doing a great job. Another NEI report will be time next month. But what we're doing too is we're looking at you. So, you want to know, if school is about teaching and learning, why don't we align the provisions in such a way that they emphasize teaching and learning? If leadership and management really are critical, because remember, the second most important variable in changing a school is leadership, and the first is the quality of the teacher. So if those 2 constructs are really true, then we must give credence to them. So we're looking at the performance standards, and what NCEL and NEI and the DSS, we're all working together to come up with one instrument that's coming in this academic year. One instrument to say that these are the standards by which a school, what we are doing is that we are, in fact, right now we are doing the costings. So if you are a school at this level, you will have a different organizational structure from a school at that level, because not all schools have the same need. So we're looking at the way we structure schools. Finally, we're looking at the regulatory framework that's in place. Now, interestingly, no principal in Jamaica is held to account for school performance. None. We can't promote you, nor can we not promote you by virtue of the output. Interesting. We don't hold boards accountable for school performance. And let me qualify that. So let's talk about exam results. You know, a teacher, a principal of a school, in a school, can stay in post for 5, 8, 10, 15 years and keep having the same results, and your job is secured. Now,